The dangers of the New Age movement, which is aimed at strengthening and empowering the Kundalini spirit in man, to prepare us for the coming New World Order and the New World Religion of the Antichrist. I am Deirdre Pieterse of Ignited in Christ, South Africa, April 2026. The aim of this teaching is merely to raise awareness and to warn the body of Jesus Christ about the spirit of the New Age that is currently gaining much spiritual ground and is deceiving many into slowly but surely accepting another Jesus, another gospel, and another spirit. We have to look at some basics before we continue about the spirit of the New Age. We first have to look at the fact that, according to Genesis 1-3, Jesus Christ and His Spirit and godly design in us is the tree of life. We were made in the image of God. Therefore, the image of God is the design in us that gives us life and that makes our whole body, soul, and spirit work in harmony. Jesus is our life, and He is the source of all life because He is the Creator God. The tree of life in Genesis is therefore an allegory for God, as made known to us by the Son, Jesus Christ. The Garden of Eden is an allegory for our inner world where our soul and spirit is abiding in our human body. The garden is therefore not an outer garden, but it is the inner garden of the soul and the spirit. In this inner garden of man, there are two allegorical trees. Man was warned by God not to eat spiritually from the wrong tree. The tree of knowledge of good and evil, of which we also read in Genesis, is an allegory for the spirit and design of the enemy in man. And you may ask, but how did this tree of knowledge of good and evil then get in man? Because obviously God would not have created us initially with the design of the enemy in us. And yes, it is only as a result of the fall, the original sin of man, that the enemy was able to plant his seed, his spiritual seed of sin and death in man. But as of any seed, that seed germinates, and it has the potential to germinate into the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is the counterfeit of the tree of life. We must remember, dear bride of Jesus Christ, that the enemy is a counterfeiter. He cannot create. He can only take that which God has created, the original design, which is the tree of life, and he therefore steals from God and counterfeits it to make it as his own. And there you can see the Kabbalistic tree of life, which the Kabbalists call the tree of life, but we know that that is the design of the enemy. The tree of knowledge of good and evil. And there you can see the Kabbalistic structure of it, how it is shown with the 7 chakras and the 10 Zephirot, which is energy centers. And those are all spread throughout the human body. And the chakras starts with the root chakra, then the sacrum, the navel chakra, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye chakra, and the crown chakra. And as I said, it is a counterfeit of the design of the true God, Jesus Christ, in us. And there next to it you can see a depiction of this Kabbalistic tree of knowledge of good and evil, depicted as a tree that sprouted and grew from the seed of the enemy. And that seed of the enemy is actually in our minds. And it appears to be more or less at the situation, at the seat of God, where it is seated in the pituitary gland. So from that seed of Satan that came in through the fall, the original sin in man, the tree of knowledge of good and evil germinates and grows. If it gets the right fertilizer, it can grow up into a tree, the counterfeit of the tree of life. Now man received a free will from God to choose from which spiritual tree to eat. And God warned us not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If we therefore obey Jesus, we will inherit life, and that eternal. That is eating spiritually from the tree of life. But if we would choose wrongly and eat spiritually from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and thereby obey the enemy, we will inherit death, and that eternal. As a result of the original sin of man, the spiritual seed of Satan came into mankind. That is where that cosmic egg thing comes from. It is nothing other than the spiritual seed of Satan in mankind. And it is because of this that we truly do need a Savior. Because the human spirit, soul, and body has been so corrupted by the seed of Satan that Jesus needed to pay the price with his blood to purchase our freedom and to redeem us, so that irrespective of this, we may still have and enjoy eternal life. The enemy wants us to eat from his tree, so that he may become the dominant spiritual force in us, to confuse and to mislead us. The end result that the enemy has in mind with this design of his in mankind is that man should become a temple for his spirit, wherein his spirit, the Kundalini spirit, can dominantly abide and oppress the Spirit of God in us. This is called a spiritual jet or antennae. There you can see how the ancient Egyptians already had this knowledge of the enemy, to show how the human spine, the nervous system of mankind, actually comes down to an antennae, which, if activated by the Kundalini spirit, functions then as a spiritual jet or antennae. There you can also see the figure that sits in the lotus position with the 7 chakras, and next to it the depiction of the jet, the antennae. It's like a tower depicting the human spine and the 7 chakras, leading up to enlightenment and the opening up of the third eye. Let us look at these pictures just to get a further basic understanding of the Kundalini spirit. There you see a picture that says Key to Awakening Kundalini. This is a reality. It's all over the internet, but this is occult knowledge of the enemy. And people are being deceived to think, or they are deceived by thinking that this is from the true God. It is not. It is from the enemy, the tree of knowledge of good and evil in mankind. There you can see that the Kundalini awakens from its base in the sacrum. It starts in the sacrum, and then it gets empowered and it moves up the human spine until it reaches the crown on top of the head, where it then gives rise to enlightenment. Enlightenment by the power of the enemy. The picture below that one, you can also see there, you see the snake's head, the cobra. That is the enemy, the same one that deceived Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. That is the originator of the original sin in man, that deposited his seed, his spiritual seed in mankind. There you can see that figure sitting in the lotus position. That is also how people that want to awaken their Kundalini, they sit in the lotus position like that. You call it the lotus position. There you can again see the 7 chakras. And next to it, that white picture shows that there's actually 3 channels that they call in the Eastern religions the three channels, the Sushumna channel, sorry about this, is the middle channel, and then there's a female channel. Pingala is the male channel, and the other channel, I can't get the name of it now, but it will come back to me and then I will mention it to you later. The Ida, there it comes. The Ida channel is the female channel moving up, the Pingala channel moving down, and the middle channel is the Sushumna channel, which is then the channel where the spirit of the Antichrist, when it is awakening, moves up through the 7 chakras. And there on top you can see again like a lotus flower showing enlightenment. There you can see the cosmic egg, which is a symbol, allegory for the seed of Satan in mankind. Kundalini is a form of energy that remains coiled up at the base of the spine. When it is raised, the Kundalini flows through the 7 chakras, which instantly leads to spiritual enlightenment. Kundalini can be aroused through various methods, including meditation, yoga, and mantras. A mantra is like, also in Christianity, if you have like something in a prayer that you always repeat the same thing over and over and over again, it becomes like a mantra. And Jesus said we should not pray like that, like the pagans do, or the heathen nations do, by repeating the same words over and over again. That is a mantra. And there you can see the Kundalini spirit awakened, moving up the spine. It is like an electricity. And there, Kundalini awakening, there you can also see the snake-like spirit moving up through the 7 chakras and the lotus position. Now, with the New Age movement, the deception is very, very fine. The enemy always steals the truth that belongs to God. And he takes that and then he mixes it with his own lies. So often when you hear from these New Age people what they say, a lot of what they say is the truth. And that is why it is so deceptive. Because you hear things that you can resonate with. You hear things that are actually the truth and comes from the kingdom of the true God. But the enemy mixes it with his lies, and then he covers it with love. This is typical from the New Age movement. They love each other with what they believe is genuine love. But it is like a sugar-coated love. It is like those cookies that I've put a picture there for you. It is sugar-coated, but it remains dog biscuits. So it's covered with this artificial sugar-coated love. So the enemy puts it in a coating that makes you think that it is from the true God, because they also talk about love. Love for God, love for one another, love for yourself, which is all true. Grace, kindness, emphasis on kindness. Kindness towards other people, kindness towards animals and nature. Freedom. Forgiveness. Great emphasis is placed on forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, releasing bad energies and bad feelings and emotions. But it is as we always say, if you mix a brownie mix to bake brownie cakes, and all the ingredients are 100% according to the recipe, but you just add 1% of the whole mixture of dog poo into that brownie mix, then that brownie mix will not be edible. It is off. It is only 1% dog poo, but it is off. It is not a brownie mix that you would like to eat and digest. So it is always important when we encounter these new ages and the new age movement, we have to discern very carefully, and we have to discern the source of what they are doing. Where do they draw their power from? Where do they come from? What is the origin and the source of this knowledge and this healing and this power? Now, the central theme of the New Age movement is love. So it sounds so right. And it appeals to a lot of people because it is all about love for your Creator. And they say, this is important, they say that it does not matter how you arrive at your truth and what actually you believe in, as long as you believe in love. So then they say, as long as love is the most important thing to you, then essentially you are and we are all believing in the same God. But they say, this is very important, this is how you can discern the New Age movement, is that their concept of God is impersonal. It is a God that is not possible to be known. You cannot know this God. And they will say to you that we must just acknowledge that we know nothing. The only thing that we know is that we do not know. And for them, God is an impersonal energy. And they also refer to God as it. It, this power, this energy, it. And it is a power or energy that is in everything. In nature, in all human beings, in the earth, in the elements, in everything. And it's like a life force that is impersonal, and it's an energy, and it's not possible to know this God. So, because of the fact that according to them it is not possible to know this God, there's a lot of focus and emphasis on what you feel. It's all about feeling and experiencing. Now immediately there must be red lights going on for you, because if we have to trust on what we feel and experience, then the enemy will have a wide open door to deceive us. And they will emphasize that you may not judge. You may not judge another person or what they believe, since according to them there is no absolute truth. They will say things that sounds nice, like the following: I respect what other people believe. I will never tell them that they are wrong, because I respect every person's belief. But then actually what they're saying to you is that there is no absolute truth. Basically that any type of spirituality goes. The terminology that they use to refer to God is the following. They will say things like the divine light, or the divine intelligence, or divine love. So to refer to God as the divine love, or the universe. And I have personally experienced how people that I got to know just in my community refers to God as the universe. Consciousness, this great consciousness, the life force energy. Or they will say it is all that is, the all that is, or the source, the force, omnipresence, the breath of life. And they believe in interconnectedness, that we are all interconnected with each other. They will also refer to God as the I am. And they talk of things like aura, awakening, and enlightenment. So they will say to you, they have nothing against the fact that you believe in Jesus Christ. And some of these New Agers will even use the name of Jesus as well and say that they believe in Jesus. But the differentiating factor is that they say, as long as you do not say that it is the only way by which we may know God. So you must also respect the religions of others, the beliefs of others, and you may not say to them that they are wrong. Because the New Age essentially believes that all religions lead to the same God, which we know is a lie. They believe in energy and sound healing, also crystal healing. Vibrations and frequencies is very important to them. And they believe that God heals through vibrations and frequencies. They believe in meditation, and that you will find your healing when you meditate and you go into a deep state of theta brainwaves, where then this energy can come and heal you. Yoga is an important way in which they say that you can aid the Kundalini to awaken. And then the lotus position is how they sit in order to ground the root chakra to the earth, and which they believe then enables the Kundalini with the correct techniques, combined with the correct techniques and meditation, to then awaken. By the way, just something on yoga. Not many people know what is wrong with yoga. And I will just say the following about yoga. That yoga was designed by the people in the Eastern religions, and it's based on sun god worship. Because many of the positions that you sit in or that you do in yoga, those positions, you actually imitate the snake, the cobra, the sun god. And it's like giving worship to the sun god and imitating the snake. And this is just a basic explanation that I'm giving is, and then you may argue, but I don't mean to give worship to the enemy when I do yoga. But that's not the point. The fact is that the enemy, in the spiritual realm, the enemy sees what you're doing, and he acknowledges it, and he knows what it means, all the positions, and therefore it stimulates the Kundalini spirit in man to then awaken and rise up. Now, many of these New Agers will say that they are able to feel things in the spiritual realm and also to see into the spiritual realm, and they see it as a gift from God. And some would even say that they were born with this gift. Now, this is nothing other than the third eye, the sixth chakra, that is opened and activated when the Kundalini has awakened to such an extent that the third eye is activated and opened. Then one can see into the spiritual realm. Now, the true God, Jesus Christ, can also enable us to see into the spiritual realm just momentarily, or maybe if there's a good reason for that. But in general, our God, Jesus Christ, does not want us to see spiritual beings. We are meant to be in the natural realm and to relate to the natural realm. Because the reason for that is that if you would be able to see into the spiritual realm constantly, it will cause so much trauma to your human soul and spirit that it is not good for your well-being. So in general, people that can see angels, and there's also in this New Age movement, there's a lot of emphasis on angels. That is also a big red light. A lot of talk about angels and seeing angels and hearing from angels. That is all signs that the third eye is open and that it is from the power of the Kundalini in them that they are able to see into the spiritual realm. And this is a counterfeit of the true gifts of God, Jesus Christ, that we are all born with. And I emphasize that we are born with. But it is gifts that comes naturally to us as human beings, and it is not these type of psychic gifts that are all from the enemy. There you can see the third eye depicted there between the brows. That's also where the Hindu people have that red dot. It is a symbol for the third eye. And there you can see the Kundalini, how it moves through the Ida and the Pingala channel, and then ultimately through the Sushumna, which is where the 7 chakras are, and then it leads ultimately to enlightenment when the crown chakra is also opened. Now they will argue, the people in the New Age movement, they will say that we all have these spiritual gifts. And they say that, for example, we should all be able to feel and communicate with the dead. And they will say to you, I can hear the dead, I can hear my deceased mother or father talking to me, I can talk to them. And that is from the enemy. It is the Kundalini spirit, and there's a word for that, and that is necromancy. And we are not allowed by God to speak to the dead. Jesus is a God for the living and of the living and not of the dead. And we are not to communicate with the spirits or souls of dead people. And now here is the big revelation about that, is that you may think that you hear your mother, your deceased mother or your grandmother, but it is actually the demonic. It is Lucifer and the fallen angels, the spirits of the fallen angels that pretend to be the soul or spirit of that dead person. And we can also look for an example in the Bible where Saul went to visit the witch of Endor, and he wanted to speak to, I think it was the dead Samuel. So it is not Samuel that came to speak to Saul there. It is actually a demon. It is the enemy that was conjured up by this witch. So actually, if people speak to dead spirits or hear from them and can communicate with them, that is nothing other than witchcraft, empowered by Kundalini. And Kundalini is the spirit of the enemy, the spirit of the Antichrist in man. So many of these people will say that they visited India, where they went for, they attended a program or some teachings, and it was given to them by Eastern gurus or sages. Now these people have what they call the so-called ancient secret wisdom, but it is occult knowledge. It is the hidden mysteries of the enemy, and it's all about the seed of the enemy in us due to the fall, and how if you feed or you eat from this tree of knowledge of good and evil spiritually, and you feed, you fertilize this seed, it will give rise, it will germinate and give rise to the tree of knowledge of good and evil in you, and the Kundalini will be empowered. So they train the people in all the techniques of how to awaken your Kundalini spirit. These people in the New Age will also make reference to the fact that they have already had extra physical experiences or outer body experiences. Now, this is nothing other than a form of astral traveling. And that is when your spirit, which is connected to your body by a spiritual silver cord, goes out of your body and can travel on the astral planes in the spiritual realm, and it has to then return to your body within a certain time, otherwise you can die, because a body without a human spirit will ultimately die. So the deeper these people go into the occult knowledge, and the stronger the Kundalini in them becomes, the better they will become at astral traveling. And some of these people can actually travel in the spiritual realm and on the spirit planes for hours before they return to their bodies. And we call it astral projection. And it is by occult power, by demonic power. So how one of these New Agers explained it recently that I heard is that she said, you go into your spirit, then you are spirit and you are infinite. And it is expanding into your spiritual essence, where you connect with the energy that created everything. You see, it is a willful thing. It is not something done by God. It is possible that the true God, Jesus Christ, may take someone out in the spirit. I'm not saying it is not possible. Our God, Jesus Christ, can do anything. He's all powerful. But that would be without your will. Your will will not be part of that. You will not have to do certain things in order to be able to leave your body. It is not something that is initiated by your own will. That will be done by God at His will, solely at His will, and you will have no control over it. But I must say, I have not ever experienced in my life that someone left their bodies and came back into their bodies due to the true God, Jesus Christ, that took them out of their bodies. It is usually by demonic power from the enemy, by the power of the Kundalini spirit. They will also talk about things like sound healing. And you will get, for example, artists, people that make music or sing or whatever, that say they use sound to heal people. And they say it is healing by way of frequencies, because everything has a frequency, and there's also frequencies in music. And they say they then use this music with its frequencies to connect with this energy of creation. And then they will ask this God, this energy, to use these frequencies to heal them or to heal others. It is also called sound activation. Now you must ask yourself, what is activated? What is activated is the Kundalini spirit, the spirit of the Antichrist in man. And they also do it through a meditation event. So they will ask people to sit in the lotus position or lie down and relax and meditate, clear their minds or whatever, and then they will use these specific sounds with a specific frequency to then tap into this so-called energy and trust that it will now bring healing. They also say, these people that are in the New Age, if they use this specific form of healing, they will say they can actually tap into your frequency as a human being, even over a distance. So, for example, the person that does the sound healing or the healing by way of frequencies, they will be, let's say, in the Western Cape and you are in Mpumalanga, and then they will give you a phone call and talk to you over the phone and then use certain frequencies that they play to you or in any other way, and then even over a distance they claim to be able to heal you with these sound frequencies, etc. Now, a good example of this is also these so-called skew machines. I think there's other names for them as well, where you get people that operate a machine and then they ask you a couple of questions which they then put into the machine. It's like a computer. And then it also works by way of frequencies and vibrations and frequencies, and then this machine will then tell you what is wrong with you, and will also, if they then connect you to that machine, it claims that that machine can heal you. That is also Kundalini healing. It's healing by way of this energy of the enemy in us that comes from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Then they will also claim that they can speak and hear the language of angels, angel tongues, and they can even sing in it. And some will say that they are clairaudient. Clairaudient means that they hear things from the spiritual realm. They can hear angels. They can hear dead people speaking. They can hear even your liver or your kidneys and the vibrations and the frequencies that they make. Stuff like that. Now that is all empowered by the Kundalini spirit, the spirit of the enemy. And there you can see there's a picture of a so-called angel. But we must remember that angels, there's angels of God, of Jesus Christ, yes, but there's also the fallen angels. Lucifer and a third of the angels were cast out of heaven, and they are fallen angels. So the angels that these people hear in the New Age movement are not the angels of God, of Jesus Christ, the holy angels. It is actually the fallen angels, the demonic, that they hear. And we read in the Bible that the enemy himself can appear as an angel of light to deceive you. Now they will say that you must get rid of all negativity, because the negativity in you blocks the flow of the energy. And they will say that there's a flow of love and healing in each one of us, but negative feelings and emotions closes the doors so that this energy cannot flow. So what they will assist you to do is to affirm positive things, contemplate on them, and until you believe them. You must affirm and declare and contemplate until you believe them. And in that way you unblock this pathway of this energy. And it is opened up for the flow of this energy. So look at that picture, what we also say there. It says unblock all chakras, Kundalini awakening positive energy. Can you see? So that is how they assist people actually without the people knowing it, for the Kundalini to awaken in them. They also talk about theta healing. And there's someone in America called Vianna Stibel who actually gives training courses to people in this theta healing. And some of these New Agers actually went to this Vianna Stibel to get training from her. And what this theta healing entails is that theta is a certain brain frequency that we tap into when we go into a deep meditation. And they call it is the space of pure love. Now, this pure love is another name for this impersonal energy or life force in mankind. And they claim that when you are able to tap into this theta brain frequency by very deep meditation, you will see healing and miracles happen. Now, I just want to say that Kundalini, the spirit of the enemy, can also heal. It has power. But we must remember that the enemy never heals unconditionally. Because some of these people will say, but they have testimonies of people that received actual healing through this process. You must just remember that the enemy never heals unconditionally. He will always take more than what he gives. So I would just want to use an example. Let's say someone had colon cancer and apparently this person was healed by this technique, by the Kundalini power, the energy. But that person has now such an aroused and awakened Kundalini, almost to the point of enlightenment, that that person gets so deceived and actually follows the New Age movement and ultimately loses his or her faith in the true Jesus Christ and follows the New Age movement of the enemy and gets more and more deceived and bound by the enemy. Is that not losing much, much more than what was gained ultimately? So let's just read what that theta healing says there. It reset your limiting thoughts and beliefs, balance your thoughts and emotions, harmonize your body's natural homeostasis, improve your emotional well-being, release restrictive subconscious patterns, increase your state of health and joy. So that is what they claim you can achieve by this theta healing. Symbols that are being used by people in the New Age movement. Now, there is someone recently not recently, let's say a couple of years ago, that started this ministry, Emit Change, and it's actually an artist, and you will find this YouTube channel on YouTube. So if you look at that symbol that is on that channel, it is none other than the phoenix that arises from the ashes, and which is the symbol of the Antichrist of Horus. Isis, Osiris, Horus is the false trinity, the Egyptian trinity, where Horus is the counterfeit of the sun. Horus, the son of Isis, the moon goddess, and Osiris, the sun god. There you see the falcon with the sun disc on top, which shows that he's also the sun god. He's an incarnation of the sun god. And there you see the two-headed eagle, which is a symbol of the Illuminati. And it is also there you can see on top the phoenix that arises from the ashes, which is all occult knowledge and symbolism for the Antichrist. So you can clearly see where this comes from. Some symbols that the New Age movement uses, and that is also for you, red signals or red lights, when you see them, when you encounter them, and when people have them around them. So you can read there for yourself. I'm not going to read each and every one of them, but clearly you can see the evil eye there, the eye of Horus, which is a symbol of the third eye, which is opened, and the Horus is the Antichrist. And there you can see the 5-pointed star, the pentagram, the Hamsa, which is Judaism, but also a symbol of the womb of the moon goddess. So there's very deep occult knowledge behind each and every one of these symbols. There you also see the lotus flower that people often wear as a pendant around their necks. You can see there again the eagle, the phoenix, Horus, which is a depiction of Horus. There you see the Kabbalistic tree of life, which is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. There you see the Ankh, which is, some people confuse with the cross of Jesus. It is not Jesus' cross, it is the Ankh. It's a very, very occult symbol, a symbol of the Antichrist. Yeah, and then they will also talk about the flower of life. And yes, there you can see all the other symbolism there. And then the tree, which appears very innocent, the tree of life there. But some people will say, but this is just a symbol of Jesus Christ. He's the tree of life. No, no. We are not to have any symbols, outer symbols of our God, and pay any worship to it or give a place to that. So that tree is the tree of the Kabbalistic tree of life, which depicts the enemy. Yeah, and then you will also hear, and it is quite shocking, that some of these people will say that they've experimented even with plant medicine such as magic mushrooms, also known as shrooms, psychedelic mushrooms. Now, I haven't made a study of this. I just know that it is brain altering things. There's many substances, such as cannabis as well, and even caffeine and drugs that has the power to alter the chemistry of your brain. And it actually indeed does that. And this person who talked about this, having had an experience with magic mushrooms, said that she felt as if she was dying when she started to manifest after she ate these magic mushrooms, and she found herself like in an abyss in the spiritual realm. And afterwards she said she can only explain it as a death of yourself, of your own ego, of the bad part of you. And it is necessary sometimes, according to this person in the New Age, to let go of yourself and to connect with this energy. So the magic mushrooms or other plant forms of medicine that they take, even cannabis, helps them to connect with this energy inside of them. But dear bride of Jesus Christ, this is all, these substances are all just an aid to help the Kundalini to rise up and to awaken towards complete enlightenment. What are the signs of an awakened Kundalini? Electricity-like currents or intense bodily movements. They also call it kriyas. Now, sometimes when we prayed to people when we were still in the ministry of inner healing and deliverance, when we were under the baptism of believers by full immersion in water, we would pray to people, and people would make these involuntary movements. They will make a sudden jerk or almost like a shiver. This are all indications of an awakened Kundalini. It's like an electricity-like current going through, and it usually originates in the spine. Then heat, for example, in your hands. I remember when we were still, almost want to say in the word faith movement under the baptism of believers by full immersion in water, when some people would say that when they laid hands on someone, that person would almost scream and say, "Oh, you burn me. Your hands are burning me." Now that heat in hands, etc., also heat in other body parts, is typical of an awakened Kundalini spirit. So also vibrations that you feel traveling up and down your spine, spontaneous body jolts, involuntary movements or kriyas, shaking, spasms, tremors. And then also tingling, a tingling feeling in your hands and feet. Or in your hands and or feet. And then also, another sign of an awakened Kundalini is that you are on an emotional roller coaster. I used to call it, you have spiritual bipolar. The one moment you are on cloud 9, and you almost have an euphoria of a heightened spiritual sensation or experience, but the next moment, or just after that, you almost feel depressed and down and hopeless. Lower back pain. Lower back pain. And I remember when we were about 3 years into the ministry of inner healing and deliverance, when we were still under the baptism of believers by full immersion in water. We have since renounced it as not from Jesus Christ. But about 3 years into that ministry, I had immense lower back pain. I remember that I struggled to sleep at night because my back was so sore. I didn't know how to position myself in bed not to have back pain. I even went to the doctor and I went for x-rays of my back to see what is wrong with my back, because I had such immense back pain. And there was nothing wrong with my back. The x-rays came back to say there's nothing wrong. After we came out of, I want to say, the word faith movement, my lower back pain is gone. It's gone. I no longer have any lower back pain. Severe heart cramps, almost as if there's a wind, air in your chest that got stuck. I don't know if you guys know that feeling where you have immense chest pain, but here where your heart is, and it's like a cramp. It's almost as if your heart cramps. That is also, if you go to the doctor and the doctor test your heart and look at everything and say, no, you've got a clean bill of health, there's nothing wrong with your heart, that is an indication of the Kundalini that wants to open up the heart chakra. It's like forcing against the heart. There's a barrier. It cannot move up any further, but it wants to move through the heart chakra and up. So those cramps, and I also experienced that. I experienced that almost here by the 9th, 10th, 11th year into our ministry of inner healing and deliverance. I experienced those extreme heart cramps, and sometimes it would carry on for like 10-15 minutes before it released. And now, since, it is gone. Sleep or energy disruptions. An awakened Kundalini can really disrupt your sleep. It can cause anxiety at night. And then what we often see in the charismatic churches are this uncontrollable laughing, crying, and intense waves of bliss or pleasure. Now, in myself, about 7-8 years into the ministry that we had of inner healing and deliverance under the baptism of believers by full immersion in water, I experienced what I thought was holy crying, because I would often, when I started praying, or when we worshipped, I would started to cry, but it was as if my spirit is crying, because I didn't cry. It wasn't a soulish crying. It wasn't like from my body or soul. It was more from a deeper level. And now I don't get that crying, involuntary crying anymore, if I pray or if I worship, or if I'm spending time spiritually with Jesus Christ. So I'm also questioning that crying, uncontrollable laughing crying, whether it was indeed from the Holy Spirit or from the Kundalini. Angelic languages. Now we know in the charismatic churches there's also so-called holy languages or angelic languages. And in retrospect, I really question it, because most of these languages that I heard in the charismatic churches did not sound very holy to me. They did not sound very holy to me. It did not sound to me as if it's coming from the true God. So it is also a sign of Kundalini enlightenment or awakening, angelic languages, and then highly symbolic visions and dreams. We also experienced that while we were still under the baptism of believers by full immersion in water, when we were in the so-called word faith movement, that we would often have highly symbolic visions and dreams full of symbolism, and that you wake up in the morning and you just know that this was a spiritual dream. But now in retrospect, because that all stopped when we renounced the baptism of believers by full immersion in water, and we are being set free by the truth of Jesus Christ, being set free from religion, we no longer, or to a very limited extent, experience these visions and or dreams. So even that, looking back, I question whether it was from the true Holy Spirit or whether it was from the Kundalini Spirit. And then also an increased awareness. The Kundalini Spirit gives you that increased awareness, intuition, or sensitivity. Now what the question is, how can we as believers in Jesus Christ discern the truth versus the lie? How do we discern the truth? And what I experienced when I wrote this teaching is that Jesus said to me, or the Holy Spirit said to me, we don't have to make it difficult. It's not difficult. It's easy. It's all about who our God is. It's about His identity. So, very important, our God, Jesus Christ, is not an impersonal energy or a life force. He is a person. And He made Himself known to us through the Son, Jesus Christ. We are able to know Him, to know who He is in the Son, Jesus Christ. And therefore we are also able to be in a relationship with Him, because He is a God of relationship. He wants to be in relationship with us. And our faith is about believing, not about feelings. That is also an important differentiation. If what you're experiencing or what you are being exposed to is all about what you feel and what you experience, no, that is very dangerous. Our faith, our God is about faith. and not about feeling. Faith is what we believe. Through faith, through what we cannot see, and not about what we feel and our emotions and feelings. So, very important, we have to discern the source of this so-called healing or therapy, etc. Where does it actually come from? This energy, life force, whatever they call it, is it coming from our true God, Jesus Christ, or is it coming from this impersonal God that does not want to be known by man, but is just like an electricity or an energy? Now that is the enemy. And also, another clear indication of Kundalini power is where your self is involved, where you have to do something. You have to go and pray long prayers or meditate. You have to put yourself in a state of empty-mindedness. You have to lie down and clear your mind. You have to, so you are in control. The source is self, where you manifest, you affirm, and then you bring it into existence or manifestation. So your own self is involved. Then it is Kundalini power, and it is not from Jesus Christ. So another lie of the enemy that I often hear is that people would say, things like the skew machine or these vibrations and frequencies, healing and sound healing, all of that is fine as long as the person that is in control, the operator or the healer or the person that operates the machine, the skew machine, as long as that person is a Christian, believes in Jesus Christ, then it is okay. That's not what I mean with the source of the healing. I mean, what is the spiritual source behind the healing? Does it come from a personal relationship and trust and faith in Jesus Christ? Or does it come from an impersonal life force or energy or electricity that is not known, that does not make itself known to man, but is like this impersonal power or electricity? So why do many Christians then not experience sufficient intimacy with God and receive healing? Because many people go to these new age healing methods in a state of desperation because they have prayed and they have trusted God for their healing, but it does not come through. So they get desperate. People get desperate and then they go to all these forms of alternative healing. And there's many more types of alternative healing that I haven't even touched on here. I can just think of, for example, homeopathy and reflexology and Reiki and all that. That's all part of Kundalini healing. But why do people that are Christians not experience the healing from God that they search for? It is because they are in dualism. They stand with one foot in the enemy and with one foot in the true God, and that is through religion. Through religion, we worship also unknowingly a false Jesus. And we are bound by the enemy through his lies, his deception, through rituals and religious sacraments, unholy sacraments, whereby the rituals, like for example the infant baptism, we dedicate our children to the enemy. And by way of initiation ceremonies, rituals like the baptism of believers by full immersion in water, we actually get initiated into the enemy. So only the truth will and can set us free. When only Jesus, the tree of life in us, has got a legal right in us, then, only then, we will experience his healing on spirit, soul, and body level. We should only eat spiritually from the tree of life, which is Jesus Christ in us. Now here is the important thing. Religion also awakens the Kundalini and feeds it. And of that I can testify. Because when we were under the baptism of believers by full immersion in water in the charismatic church movement, I thought that I was being set free. But actually, I got tied down even tighter by the enemy through religion, and the Kundalini spirit got awakened and I didn't even realize it. But I started to realize it more or less by the end of the 12-year period that we were in the Ministry of Inner Healing and Deliverance. So the Kundalini is fertilized. That seed of the enemy in us is fertilized by way of dogma that we derived from paganism via the Roman Catholic Church. Dogma is dogmatic lies of the enemy that we believe as being cast in stone, part of our religion, but that is actually paganism and gives the enemy power in us. The enemy draws power from the fact that we believe lies about our God, and thereby we unknowingly give worship to the enemy. And that is also because of the dualism in the Bible. The traditions of men, which are rituals derived from paganism, for example, the infant baptism, the baptism of believers by full immersion in water, all of that feeds the Kundalini in man. And then sacraments such as communion, that every time that you take communion, you crucify the Spirit of Jesus Christ in you, and you aid the birth or the resurrection of the spirit of the Antichrist Kundalini in you. So this is the bad news, or maybe the good news, because the truth sets us free. This is that every Christian being, thereby I mean that you are part of the worldwide Christian church derived from the Roman Catholic Church. You still believe in water baptism, you take communion, etc. All of them has an awakened Kundalini. How are we set free from religion? By the truth. Jesus said in Revelation 18 verse 4 that we should get out of spiritual Babylon. And that is the false church of the Antichrist. When we are set free from the lies of the enemy, we will experience the healing power and the peace of Jesus Christ. We will get to know Him as He really is. And, very importantly, without any efforts of our own. The source of our healing will not be self together with some impersonal energy, but solely the healing power of Jesus Christ in us, being the tree of life. Dear bride of Jesus Christ, this teaching did not intend to bring you everything that there is on the New Age movement. It's just an awareness. It's just to raise awareness of what the New Age movement is. And we ask you, please join us in spreading the truth of Jesus Christ. Warn other believers in Jesus Christ by please subscribing to our channel and liking this video. Because if you like this video, the algorithm of YouTube, Google, will then bring this video to the attention of more people. And share this video on your social platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, and wherever you are, each and every social platform, and by way of an email or by way of whatever methods, please help us to spread the truth. We remember what is said in Ephesians 5 verse 11, where Paul said, we should have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness. This technology of vibrations and frequencies are the technology, it is the technology of the fallen, the technology of the fallen angels. So we should have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather we should expose them. And that is what we are doing. Please help us by exposing the strategies of the enemy through the New Age movement. Agape Love, Deirdre Peterse, Ignited in Christ.